Now let's talk about membership within the Arizona State Retirement System. We're still working out of Chapter 2 in the Employer Manual. Membership, we have what's called their pension. It's a lifetime retirement benefit. You can retire as early as age 50 with at least 5 years of service credit with the retirement system. And we also have normal retirement. So let's look what normal retirement would be. Everybody in the plan at age 65 with any number of years of service can take a retirement pension. Anybody in the plan when they qualify at age 62 with 10 years or more service credit can retire with full benefits. What changes now is for depending on when your membership started, if you're not 65 or 62 and 10, then when you're younger, we look at different criteria to determine when you meet normal retirement. And so for those who started contributing prior to July 1st, 2011, we look at your age and your service, and we combine them. And if they're at 80, what we refer to as 80 points or higher, you can retire with a full benefit based on the calculation without a reduction. For those members who started contributing 7/1/2011 going forward, they still have age 65 and 62 at 10 years, but if they're younger than 62, then we look to see if they're at least age 60 with 25 years of service or age 55 with 30 years of service credit to reach full retirement. Any of these individuals can work beyond normal retirement, and we just refer to that as late retirement, and your benefit will just continue to be higher when you do decide to retire later on. The pension calculation, we're going to look at a formula. We have service credit times the graded multiplier, and you'll see the graded multiplier on our website by going to the members tab and looking at retirement. And then we have the average monthly compensation in the formula. So looking at the service credit is earned by contributions coming in when your employer remits those to the retirement system. Once you receive one contribution within a given month, you'll receive credit for that entire month. Now what's a little different is those who work for a school system, the service credit is based on a 9-month basis employee. So if you are in a school system, you earn service at a 0.111 per month. So after 9 months, you'll receive a full year of service credit. Even administrators who work 12 months out of the year will still get a full service credit. But for the 12-month employees to get the full salary, we continue employment to have the contributions coming in for the full 12. Now, all other employers outside of the school system, the service credit is earned at a 0.083. So the rest of the membership will have to work 12 months to get the full year. The key point to all this is the law does not permit us to earn more than 1 year of service credit. Within the pension benefit calculation, we do have the graded multiplier and the average monthly compensation. You as the employer have a responsibility. You need to ensure that your employees participate within the Arizona State Retirement System when they qualify. You need to ensure that the employees register and enroll. And you need to apply the contribution rate to those eligible compensation. And I'll discuss a little bit more later on here what is considered compensation for ASRS purposes. At retirement, there'll be a form online called an ending payroll verification form that you'll need to complete, verifying their termination date and final pays. The other benefit that employees have before reaching retirement is the long-term disability program. We all have to pay a percentage of our contributions out of our pay to help fund the long-term disability program, as well as the employer. If you become disabled and not able to continue to work, there is a 6-month waiting period. If awarded the long-term disability, you could be paid up to 66 2/3 of your pre-disability earnings. The reason we state up to 66 2/3 is because once you receive the long-term disability program, after a period of time, you would be required to apply for disability through Social Security. If the employee does get some type of additional benefit above and beyond the long-term disability through the Arizona State Retirement System, there may be an offset of the disability benefit they're getting from the Arizona State Retirement System. One key benefit that we have at the Arizona State Retirement System is if someone is on long-term disability, they can earn service credit while on long-term only earn up to 30 years of service credit. So how the program would work is once somebody goes on long-term disability, they can stay on the program if they're under 70 up to 5 years, or when they reach normal, at least up to 5 years. And then after that, if they're not at normal retirement yet, they would continue to stay on the disability program, earning service credit until they reach normal retirement. Now, the long-term disability program, once you do reach the normal retirement system, then the ASRS will notify the individual's employees, generally about 6 months, about contacting the Arizona State Retirement System to apply for benefits. You as an employer, your responsibilities, there are forms online. When you log in on the left-hand side under Other Operations, there is a link called Forms and Packets. You'll want to go in there, and there's 2 different documents. One is for the employee, and one will be for the employer to complete. The reason we have those forms online is because we don't want your employees going to our website, completing the forms, and sending them directly to our LTD provider. If they do that, then the LTD provider will not be able to process anything without the employer claim. So we ask that they send the claims back to you, and then through our secure messaging, you'll send the claims, both the employee and employer claims, through the secure messaging to the retirement system. Now, one key thing that you'll need to make sure that you have, or you need to talk to your employer administrator, is someone in the office does need to have what's called the LTD Associate Employer Contact. This is a key role so you can process the LTD benefits by filling out information and on your end as the employer providing information that the ASRS needs. Our LTD provider or administrator, within a week's time period, once you register as an administrator, will reach out to you and assist you in learning more about the LTD processes. And the LTD contact needs to submit the claims and documentation directly to the LTD administrator using that secure messaging. Here's a view when you're logged into the employer portal, how you can access the secure messaging. If you're looking on the left-hand side, you'll see that Maintain Employer Contacts. A key thing you need to know as an employee, and if you're an employer administrator, you need to know this also. If the employer administrator is not with you today, you need to reach out to them and let them know if you need this role. See the Maintain Employer User link just above the Maintain Employer Contacts. You need to make sure the employer administrator goes into that link first and sets you up as an employer user first. If they don't set you up as an employer user first and goes into the Maintain Employer Contact to set you up as an LTD contact, you'll never be able to see the communication secure messaging, and you won't be able to do your functions as an LTD provider. So make sure they have you, the administrator sets you up first as a user and then employer contacts. Now you can see they have the 2 different roles here. There's an LTD associate and an LTD signer only. Here's the definitions of the different roles that they have. As you can see, the LTD associate has many different roles for help processing the LTD benefits on the employer side, working with our LTD provider. The LTD signer only role, as you can see, has limited roles. They can sign for documents and they can discuss claims with our provider, which is currently Broadspire. Now you may ask, well, why do you have a signer and an associate role? The general thought behind this was some organizations are bigger and they have more staff and more employees, and some of them may have some people that are working with you may say at the front desk or interacting with the employees that are applying for the long-term disability, and they may have the LTD role, signer only, and they can accept the claims and submit them. Then you may have some other staff that may be dealing with the different processes and working with the LTD provider, and those would be the LTD associate role. We have many small companies and organizations that just have that LTD associate role. But the key thing is you have to have at least one person with the LTD associate role, and the LTD signer role is basically an optional role. Let's look at the secure messaging just a little bit more as we apply this for sending any type of documentation. Could be for LTD documentation, but I also want to reference if you want to send other documentation that's not related to long-term disability. So you as an employer would go into the secure messages link, Once you select that, you'll receive a screen such as this. The key things on this, you'll see the subject, enter a subject. You have to key a subject on the subject line or the thread will not be submitted to the retirement system. Also, within the message field, you'll need to indicate and put some type of information in there. It could be brief. If you're processing LTD documents, you could, on the subject line, put employer-employee documentation for LTD, and in the body of the secure messaging, you could just state, this is someone, Mr. Smith, or this is this person submitting their documentation. Now, you'll see in the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the button that says Send. Then you have Choose File, and as you go to the right, you'll see Send LTD Documents, and then Cancel. A key thing you have to understand is if you have the long-term disability role and you are submitting sensitive information, LTD documents through the secure messaging, you will need to press the Send LTD Documents to send those documents to our current vendor, which is Broadspire. We've had in the past some employers select the Send on the bottom left-hand side, and if secured documentation for LTD goes to the Send button, it comes to the Arizona State Retirement System, and we have a system set up where it's automatically electronically shredded and destroyed. So people at ASRS do not have access to that. I've had some employers ask me in these presentations and meetings, they'll say, well, I see the Send, but I don't see the Send LTD document button. If you don't see the Send LTD document button, this means you don't have the LTD role, and you want to contact your employer administrator to give you that role. Once you do have that role, then you'll see that LTD document button. And remember, if you're sending documentation or sending secure messages to the retirement system other than LTD related for our LTD provider, then you'll press the button on the bottom left-hand side, the Send button only. There is more information on our employer reference material page on our website. We have a guide exclusively for secure messaging, and I reference that as something you could look at in the near future to help you better understand how to process and send secure messaging and receive them. Now let's look at health insurance as it relates with the Arizona State Retirement System. The Arizona State Retirement System does provide medical and dental plans for our retirees and LTD members. Our membership can go to our website, and under the retiree tab, again, as you look at the top of the home page, there'll be a tab that says retiree. If they hover over that, there'll be a drop-down menu, and there'll be a reference for health insurance. They click on that, they go to a whole other page that opens up, and it shows the different non-Medicare and Medicare plans that we offer, plus our dental plans. Our members can go in there and reference and read all the information about this. Also, our retirees have the ability to register and enroll for health insurance online once they're reaching that retirement stage. The retirement system also has the health insurance premium benefit program. This is a benefit that's set aside to help pay for the cost of insurance that the retiree or LTD member may have, either through the Arizona State Retirement System or through the employers. This particular plan will help cover towards medical or the dental coverages. You as an employer will need to complete documentation, submit them to the secure messaging system to the Arizona State Retirement System. First, we have what's called the ASRS direct deposit form. We need the employers to go into the Forms and Packets link. There's a document there that they would pull up, print off, and complete their direct deposit information, and then scan that and send that back through secure messaging to the Arizona State Retirement System. By doing this, then we can set up for you, and once you start getting the premium benefit through the Arizona State Retirement System, it'll be directly deposited to the account of your choice. For your new retirees or those going on long-term disability that qualify for your health insurance and qualify for the premium benefit program, one of the documents in the Forms and Packets links is called an authorization for premium benefit. That's the form you'd fill out to initially give us information on the medical and dental plans that they may have. It's going to ask you for the monthly rates, and you would submit that to us. Our system then, our staff will key that into our system, and then it will, on a monthly basis, we will send up to a certain amount of dollars based on the number of years of service that they have. document that we have is called the change deletion form. This form is used whenever an individual on one of your plans may be adding somebody, taking somebody off, or if you are going to have to change one of your carriers, then you would need to send in change forms for all the individuals to give us the new carrier and the new rate. And if you have an individual that's completely going off your plan, for example, someone's becoming Medicare age and you don't provide any type of plan for Medicare age, you'd send in the deletion form, so we would take them off the coverage and you would stop receiving the premium benefit dollars. There is a survey packet also in the forms and packets link that you need to fill out at least once a year. You need to indicate the carrier for the medical and or dental plan that you have and the monthly rates and give us different combinations. Maybe you have for single only, for single and family, both non-Medicare, or you could have a possibly combination, one on Medicare, one not. Whatever your combination is, you need to fill that out on the survey and send that through secure messaging to us at least once a year when you make your annual updates. Another thing that you'll have when you have the HI premium benefit roll is when you go into the system, on the left-hand side, you'll see a link that says reports. You'll open that link and it'll open up and you can see the current year and the last 2 years, the current month and the last 2 months of the premium benefits that were sent to the employer. You want to use this to reconcile your monies that you're receiving from the Arizona State Retirement System. For example, you may have 10 individuals that are supposed to be on your plan. So you have a medical plan and a dental plan. You look at that report will show all 10 individuals and the amount of premium benefit they're supposed to receive. You take that total, it breaks it out, but you'll see a total on the bottom, and you look at that and compare that to the deposit you receive from the Arizona State Retirement System. If it matches, then everything is good. But you'll notice if you go into the next month and you see the same dollar amount, but you realize, wait a minute, this particular retiree, I know we took them off last month because they were Medicare eligible, but we received money from the Arizona State Retirement System for this additional person. Now you know you need to contact or send a change deletion form through secure messaging to the Arizona State Retirement System so we can receive that, and retroactively we can go back and cancel that coverage, that benefit. So we would then take the monies back for the next run, the next processing, because they're no longer on your plan. So this is a tool for you. It's your friend. You want to use this for reconciliation. Now, I've had some employers ask me, well, Michael, I need to go back and look the last 5 months, and I understand that this report only goes back 3 months, the current month plus the last 2. If you need to go back 5 or 6 months, send a secure message through to the Arizona State Retirement System requesting the given month you want. This will get forwarded to our insurance department. They can run a report going back to a prior month, and then they can send that through secure messaging to you. Other responsibility. This particular slide is referencing for those retirees that retired before August 2nd of 2012, if they return to work in active status working for an active employer, and if you offer them active health insurance. What that means to us is it's the same coverage that you would offer to other employees that have never retired yet. If you do offer that to them, only those retirees retired before August 2nd of 2012 are eligible for what we refer to as a 6-month reimbursement program. You would go into the forms and packets link to get this document. You would fill it out, giving us the gross amount, any amounts you pay, and any out-of-pocket costs the individual pays, and then you send that again twice a month. So in July, you would send us the first one from January through June, and then in January, you'd send us the one for July through December. We then will determine what amounts are due to that retiree, and we'll send an actual check to the individual. It won't be sent to the employer. A key thing you have to understand is if any retiree retires August 2nd of 2012 going forward, if you have them on one of your employer health insurance programs, then the premium benefit would not be payable to them if the employer pays for any of the cost. And the way the law reads is if you pay anything of the cost, then they're not eligible for it. So you'll need to verify with the retirees when they retire to make sure if they're eligible for this 6-month reimbursement benefit. This page is where when you go into the Forms and Packets link, this is the page that you will see. You can see the different types of forms are in PDF. You can see employer forms, the disability forms, and then the health insurance forms. Another benefit that's available is for survivors. If a member were to pass away before retirement, the survivor benefits would pay out both the employee and the employer contributions with any interest, and if the employee had ever purchased any service. We'll talk about service purchase a little bit later on in the presentation. You as the employer could report the death to the retirement system, or any family member or anybody can contact the Arizona State Retirement System to notify us of the death. Once we're notified of the person passing away, information is given to our Survivor Benefits Department, and after that, and it takes some period of time, a few weeks, then information would be sent to any survivors. In this process, once our Survivor Benefits is aware of the reported death, there will be what's called the ending payroll verification for survivor benefits we sent through the secure system to your queues. So for those of your employers that have the ending payroll verification role would need to go in and complete that ending payroll verification, indicating their last payroll and any final pay. We will use that in part of the calculation to determine any final payments to the survivor benefit.